Love-hate with the running backs, Matthew. And we're going to start off with Saquon Barkley, who we see here, practice on Wednesday after missing Tuesday with a stinger. He should be good to go on Saturday. He plays your Washington Commanders. He would have been a no-brainer. We wouldn't have been able to put him on the love list last year because it was so obvious. But this year, not as obvious, but very favorable matchup against Washington.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable matchup against Washington. Running backs that have seen at least 15 touches against the Commanders this year are averaging 19.4 fantasy points per game. My Commanders have given up at least 20 fantasy points to a running back in 4 of the past 5. And so Saquon, who, has played better recently. The offense has played better in games in which they win. Barkley's getting over 22 touches a game. They're 6.5-point favorites. I think they do win here as well. So Barkley's my running back 6 this week. It's been a tough year for Barkley. He has not returned value on ADP. But if you've managed to make the playoffs with Saquon Barkley as your first-round pick, you're going to be rewarded this week. Again, my running back 6, I think he runs all over my Commanders.
The first time this season he's had 2 games in a row with 75 yards and a touchdown. That's interesting. Obviously, he's had definitely a solid matchup last week in the Raiders to get that done, and just carrying that over to Washington. If you made it this far, which some people have, you should actually feel good about it now.
Yeah, still doesn't quite look like Saquon Barkley from last year, but trending in the right direction and having some more Saquon type of runs, like housing the 50-yarder against the Chargers a couple weeks ago. My first name for the love list, Jonathan Taylor, who would have been an unspoken love, would have been self-evident a few weeks ago. Obviously, things have changed for the Colts. It's hard to say it was encouraging, but I thought there were encouraging aspects of his performance against the Seahawks. One, the fact that just an insane workload with Phil Rivers under center, or really more in shotgun, and the fact that the Colts, they ran the ball on first down, I believe, 19 times versus 4 pass attempts. They know that they can't let Phil Rivers get into second and third and long. So Jonathan Taylor is going to get a huge amount of work. This is season on the line for the Colts. If they lose this, their season is effectively over. And San Francisco's run defense is not particularly imposing. They're just out of bodies on that defense. I think they've been doing it with smoke and mirrors. Credit to Robert Saleh, but Jonathan Taylor is going to get all he can eat on Monday night.
Yeah. Could not agree more. Look, talented. If you're Shane Steichen, how do I move the ball, right? You've got a better chance. Philip Rivers is going to have to throw enough just to keep him honest, but it's going to be Jonathan Taylor for another 20 touches.
And they're hoping for that he breaks the big one that he couldn't versus Seattle. Seattle's better defense this season, so they knew better, hey, we're going to stack the box. And the San Francisco 49ers may as well do that too. However, they don't have the same players at this time that the Seattle Seahawks have.
Yeah. I'll also say this. This is a dumb one, but and not that you were ever deciding not to play Jonathan Taylor, but I always like having players on Monday night. Like, just if everyth's gone wrong, hey, can I get him Monday Night Miracle?
Yeah.
I always just, especially this week, a semifinal week, like I like having players that can this guy bring the hammer home for me?
Yeah, and also it's not like Jonathan Taylor was like 2 yards per carry against the Seahawks facing a loaded box and elite defense.
He had good runs.
Yeah, he was, what was he, like 23 for 87?
He did damn good for the opposing defense to know what they was trying to do. But to what you said, Matthew, going into a Monday night, if you down 21 points with a guy like Jonathan Taylor, you feel good unless you get to the fourth quarter and he got 7, but then you still got a chance.
Right.
Yep.
So on the end zone twice, right?
Yeah. He's minus 300 anytime touchdown scorer.
Yeah, we
which
like
is
that.
Pretty remarkable. Phil Rivers at quarterback. All right, Bucky Irving, Matthew, huge matchup for him against Carolina in a game that may decide the vaunted NFC South. The Panthers' run defense has been struggling lately.
Yeah, and I expect them to lean on Bucky Irving here, right? Every game he's played this season, he's had at least 17 touches. And then the reason I bring up the touches, again, running backs that get volume against Carolina. 7 of the 9 running backs have seen at least 15 touches against the Panthers. They've scored at least 16 fantasy points since week 8. Carolina is bottom 5 in the NFL in both rush yards per game and yards per carry allowed to opposing running backs. So Bucky Irving, who should get the majority of the work in a matchup on the road at Carolina, is my 10th best running back this week. As you see it right there on your screen, the Panthers, just Giants, Bengals, Cardinals, my Commanders, just among the teams that allow a ton of rushing yards to opposing running backs. Bucky Irving, RB1 this week, running back 10 for me.
Yeah, the look-ahead line for this one was Bucks -1.5 in Carolina, and then the market and the world saw what Carolina served up in New Orleans against the Saints. Decided this line needs to be -3 instead. I suspect that the Bucks are going to have game script as we see. What is this? Berry Pie, Youth the 88, Youth the 88. Not sure there. Barkley, Irving, and Achane. Who are you sitting? Wow, that's a good problem to have. We can't sit anyone else
That's a
on
really
the flex.
tough one. I think you're sitting Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sitting
Barkley.
Achane.
I have Barkley at 6. Obviously, Achane high. Bucky Irving's my lowest ranked guy there. I am at running back 10. Nice options to have. Barry Pie, you the 88.
Yeah, find somebody else to sit but I guess he can't.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
why
he
he's
doesn't have a
asking
flex.
us.
Maybe doesn't have a flex.
Yeah.
Very confusing username handle there because your name's Barry Pie. Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
A lot going on there.
Indeed. All right, let's jump to the Houston backfield where there's also a lot going on, Lawrence. Woody Marks, who's been a little banged up. Jawad Jordan, who's a football player. They play the Raiders. They're more than 2 touchdown favorites, so it's about as favorable as a game script situation as you can imagine.
Yeah, you talk about that game script. The over-under for this game is 37.5, right? We know that ain't because of the Texans. That's because of the Raiders and whoever they have starting at quarterback, right? But Woody Marks is the play here. If he's healthy and ready to go, he suffered the injury. Jawad Jordan came in, 15 carries, 101 yards versus the Cardinals defense. Now you get this Raiders defense they're going against, allowed the 8th most points in fantasy per game to running backs. They have allowed at least 92 scrimmage yards and a rushing touchdown to running backs in 3 straight games. So if you got Woody Marks, you feel great about this. They get ahead. We know that C.J. Stroud can have a good game and not even throw touchdowns. So definitely like whoever's starting that running back for this Texans backfield.
Okay, Theory and Josh Bangers. Hampton or Woody?
I would say I think it's Woody Marks. I agree with Lawrence here. Like, again, assuming Woody Marks plays, I think it's Woody Marks. I mean, just Amari and Hampton is my ride or die, but the Cowboys quietly, since Quentin Williams has come, they've played good run defense. They're actually the 5th best run defense in the NFL over the last 4 weeks, I should say. So, yeah, Woody Marks over Amari and Hampton. Unfortunately, you're hoping with Hampton he gets into the end zone. If Marks is out, I would then go with Hampton. I get the Jawad.
Yeah.
No.
I do the same thing.
Versus Jawad Jordan, who, it's a semifinal game. That feels a little bit cute.
Okay, one of our favorite regulars, Neck Brace Nation. That
Neck
terrifying
brace.
visual of Lawrence Jackson with.
That's not me. That's Peyton Manning.
All right, it's Peyton Manning. Sorry, it's Peyton Manning mixed with Nicki
think it's
Minaj.
Woody.
Okay, Woody, Genty, or Aaron Jones for the championship. Yeah, it's Woody
Again,
Marks.
I think it's Woody Marks.
Yeah, Woody
I want no
Marks.
part of Genty against Houston. Genty's been terrible. We're going to talk about him in a second. No, thank you.
Yeah, I actually called this in the preseason that people would be starting Woody Marks over Ashton Genty. That
That's
he was
a good call by you.
the rookie running back that you want. All right, let's jump to some others receiving votes. Headlined Matthew by Tyrone Tracy, who got plenty of work and is seemingly taking over this backfield with Cam Scatterboo obviously out, but also with Devin Singletary not getting the lion's share of the work.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy has scored as a top 13 fantasy running back in each of his past 3 healthy games. Vikings have allowed a running back to score in 7 of their past 8. How about Kenneth Gainwell, right, who has a 16% target share on the season. That's 5th among all running backs. Since week 11, he is the 8th best running back in fantasy football. As crazy as that might sound, he is. That's a high over-under in that game in Detroit. I think it's 52.5. And then finally, how about Michael Carter? Since week 7, your Falcons, Lawrence, allow the 5th most receptions per game to running backs. And in the 4 games that Michael Carter's gotten 10 or more touches, he's averaging almost 13 fantasy points per game. He's got a 14% target share. Now, we saw Amari DiMercado come back last week and roll, but it's going to be Carter and DiMercado. I got a text from a buddy today who said to me, I'm starting Michael Carter over Ashton Genty. Am I crazy? And I said, you are not crazy.
Well, in a similar vein, Christian David, 1473. Hey, folks, DJ Moore or Michael Carter to fill my flex spot this week? No.
I think
probably no Roma Dunze.
Right.
Luther Burden has a bit of a question mark as well. But DJ Moore doesn't really do much.
No, I know. Good boy, that's a tough one.
You need that touchdown for DJ Moore.
I think I'd go with Michael Carter.
Would you
I just feel better about the chip. I feel better about I know that he had a huge game.
Like, both of them could get 5 receptions.
Right. The game's in Chicago against Green Bay, but that's a tough matchup. But
yeah, no,
it's
Michael
a close
Parsons, who's actually been helpful for their run defense. Yeah, the Bears were able to run the ball in the second half of that Green Bay game last time as well. You suspect that they will lean on the run if they can.
So I'm saying Carter. I'm saying Carter. I don't feel good about that answer, but I'm going to say Carter.
Likewise. All right, Kevin Cardenas, 637. RJ Harvey or Michael Carter?
This one's easier. That's RJ Harvey. I get that Jacksonville's played pretty good defense, but Harvey just gets so much work, and we feel better about the Jaguars' offense than, Arizona's offense has been pretty good. But, yeah, I'm going to say RJ Harvey
They'll get you them points. They're going to be losing by 20, but they'll get you 20.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.